Jessica and Ramon, I want to thank you guys for being here on Going Beyond the Scale. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
What was great was usually when I do podcasts, I get an opportunity to talk to people just like this. We do a little bit virtual, but what was really fun for me, because I hadn't seen you guys in a long time, was I got to stop in at your place, which I loved, Black Oak Artistry in Pittsburgh, and I got a chance to get caught up. We talked about all kinds of things. And so today, like I told you guys, I could talk to you guys for hours. So I'm going to have to try to watch myself here. But I wanted to really hit on some highlights of some of the amazing things you guys have been doing. And the intention whenever I'm doing these podcasts is I really like to be able to get people's story into the conversation. But then you guys, like I told you, you guys have such a unique story that I think one of the things, besides people getting a good idea about what's been going on with a lot of things in your life, I think they're going to be able to tap into and learn from a lot of the things that you guys have experienced so far, what's going on within your life. So the format today, I wanted to start with where you guys are today, what you're doing today. We'll kind of do a backstory so we can kind of go back in there, but I want to bring you guys back into where you're going forward, because as you know, too many people live in their past. We don't live in our past, but people know you guys. You're well known. People are always curious. I mean, there's been a ton of things written about you recently. You've been on the Today Show, information all over the place, Pittsburgh Gazette, all kinds of places. But I thought it might be interesting, and it's not new. I think it would be great if you guys just kind of share the new exciting project you guys have been working on that I have to tell you, it's going to be quite an adventure. But why don't you share that with everybody, what your new project is, your new adventure that you guys are going to do in the next few months.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll let you take it.
Okay. Well, I mean, we have the biggest project we've ever been working on ever. This is totally new for us, and we're
uncharted territory.
We've never done this before, so we're super excited. And I'm just gonna come out and say it. We kind of let the cat out of the bag, with a photo, but we're pregnant, and it's unreal. Look, goosebumps. Just goosebumps immediately. Like, I'm gonna be a dad. Yeah. You're gonna be the best mom ever. It's crazy. I don't even know what to say. Like, we're like a little human running around. It's nuts.
Yeah, I love how excited he gets. But it's been something I wouldn't say we've been working on for a long time, but fairly recent. But we've had almost 11 years together in a relationship. And it was just the next step to complete this book and start a new book, new chapter. And we couldn't be more excited to welcome our baby in October of 2022.
Yep. That's great. The thing that's really, I think what's neat about it is that I could just tell by how excited you guys were when we got together about being parents. Sometimes people are like, they're not sure, but I mean, I know you guys well enough to know that you got the kind of spirit and excitement and love of life, which is so important when you're a parent. And the other part that we have a similarity is you'll be parents, but you're also professional and you're entrepreneurs. Yeah. So I thought it also would be helpful, like where you guys are today. You give us a little bit of you're out in Pittsburgh now, but like what caused you to be where you're at going in? Because Jessica, you were from Pittsburgh. Then you guys kind of give everybody an idea of with all your adventures, why are you there? What's going on?
Yeah. So actually I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm from Murraysville, Pennsylvania. And I took off for California about almost a year before I got on the show. Biggest Loser. So I was out there nursing. I was a travel nurse, worked at Stanford, Kaiser Permanente hospitals. And the show kind of fell into my lap. After the show, we stayed there. Ramon kind of just joined me. And we did do a ton of different things. Everything from being personal trainers for the Biggest Loser resorts to doing, voiceovers and working with NBC. But I never lost my love of nursing. And so I did go back to nursing for a long period of time while Ramon continued to work with the resorts. And then from there, we did film another TV show. We filmed with the creator of The Biggest Loser, J.D. Roth, on a documentary called The Big Fat Truth, where we went vegan, which did not expect to love or do well with, which we did do well with for that period of time. And then at the end of 2019, to kind of bring us to where we are now, is we were in California. We were ready to move back home, wanted to ultimately just get everything together and start a family soon. But we weren't going to start a family in a state at least half a country or states away from where our family lived, because we knew we couldn't do it alone. And so we did come back to Pittsburgh at the end of 2019. And at that time, I couldn't have predicted it better that there was a pandemic coming. So I was an ICU nurse all my life, worked in critical care, absolutely loved the job, but I was ready for a change. And so I took that opportunity of moving cross country to also explore something new in nursing. And I became a district clinical specialist for a laser aesthetic company, of which I've now become a clinical educator for them, working remotely. So I absolutely love it. Also sets me up to work from home with my future child.
Yep.
I couldn't
Smart
be
thinking.
happier. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
as we moved home being Pittsburgh, Ramon opened, he worked for Gallery 412 in Pittsburgh at a tattoo shop. Beautiful, great. It was a wonderful start for him to find Pittsburgh clientele. And then we recently opened Black Oak Artistry here in Murraysville, Pennsylvania, to work with and coincide with our other shop out in Florence, Colorado.
Yep. She summed it up pretty well. I mean, for us, you know, we always kind of do things in moves and have a plan, you know, kind of. And, you know, for me, after the show, I was kind of just floating around trying to find my way, you know what I mean? And, you know, I tattooed before the show and I was a tattoo artist. And through that time, like I took time off and I was, like I said, trying to find myself and trying to find what I wanted to do in life. And the thing that was missing was art. The thing that, you know, held me together was art. And so I got back into it 2018 and opened the shop in Colorado. And well, I was like 17 and then opened the shop in Colorado, in Florence, Colorado, 2018. And the plan was to get back to Pittsburgh and open a shop here of my own and have two going back and forth. And it seems kind of nutty, but it works well. You know, I've got great artists in Colorado, hoping to get some great ones here in Pittsburgh and then, you know, open the doors. Like we want to travel, you know, it kills, you know, two birds. We get to see my family in Colorado. You know, and I get to work, you know, so I don't have to take any time off. But, you know, tattooing is what I love. And it's great to come into a studio that's mine. And, you know, in the area that we're at now in Murraysville, you know, it's her hometown and it's now mine. So, you know, two shops in our hometowns and, you know, we're always looking for the next best thing. So we got a laser tattoo removal coming in the summer. So here in Pittsburgh will be the first location that it will be set at. So we'll put them on and take them off. You know, we'll be full service. We also do permanent makeup and microblading in both studios as well in Colorado and Pittsburgh. So we got a lot of things going and a lot of, you know, what do they say? A lot of, you know, things in the pan. I don't know. But whatever that is, we got a lot of, you know, we got a lot of things going at the same time, but that's how we like it.
Yeah.
If I don't do that, I'll just eat. So, you know, you know.
I mean, you guys have been together for 11 years. And so I guess the question is that it seems as if it just, you know, when people see people on TV, there's a certain idea they have in their mind about what they are and who they are, whatever. But it seemed from having the opportunity of being with you guys there on location that it, for whatever reason, I can only tell you being a couple of years older than the two of you, it seems that you've kind of come into your own where it feels as if, yeah, there's a whole life in front of you and you still don't know what that is. And obviously being parents, that's going to be different. But it seems like that you're in a place where you're really doing things that you love and feel like your own purpose. And I know for myself that when I've been in a situation where I've been under stress and I use food to medicate with or whatever, that was always challenging. So I tend to talk to people a lot of times to try to find out, you know, people were always like, well, what should you eat? What should you exercise? And I'm like, well, one of the questions I have is like, what's eating you? And sometimes the reason why people have challenges is they're not leading a fulfilled life. So it appears that's where you guys are now in terms of really being comfortable with your careers and what's laying in front of you. Is that true?
I think so. And I think you hit the nail on the head because That's true. You know, people who live life full of stress are typically working a job that they don't love. They don't want to punch in, they don't want to punch out, or they do want to punch out. But
Yeah.
you know, it's one of those things. We've done that. I mean, I've worked, like I said, critical care, and not every day is a great day. You know, you go home, you cry, things of that nature. You know, he's trying to struggle finding out where does he fit in this life, because when we first met, I was like, what do you mean you don't make a paycheck at the end of the week? Like, I didn't understand business life. Like, to me,
Right.
you show up, you clock out, you get a paycheck. And that's what kind of drove him into being a personal trainer at that point. It took us a few years to figure that out. And what's really nice over the past few years, and I think you're right, is maybe it's age, maybe it's experience, but we found what we love to do. And so we no longer allow work to run us because we enjoy it. And so I've chosen to leave something that led me to a lot of stress, and it's led me to something that I love to do. I never thought I would love to teach nurses, and that kind of came out of this job opportunity that came to me. I also never thought I would work in a tattoo shop. Like,
You have a tattoo.
I'm not a biker. I had that impression.
Me neither.
That's my thought of a tattoo shop when we first, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't know this life. I still don't have a tattoo, but I appreciate it and I love it. And so, you know, I'm going to be working with him doing microblading, and I'm going to be running and, you know, creating this tattoo removal program that we're going to have here. And it's fun. And I get to work with the person that I get along with the best, which is my husband. And honestly, it's weird to think back to it, but if we never went on that show, none of this would have happened. And who knows where we would be today. And I know for sure I wouldn't be pregnant and due in October. So with somebody that I love like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the big key here. Like, you know, there's so many jobs out there. You shouldn't be stuck into doing something that you don't love. And everybody's scared of opening a new door. I've opened a ton of doors. Not all of them are great, but I finally found one that does have that green pasture, and I'm absolutely in love with it.
I think one of the big takeaways from anybody that would say Google you guys, look at your background on Biggest Loser, The Big Fat Truth, you know, what you had done as trainers. I think it's important because you know, so often people think that there's like some straight line to success, and as you guys know, it's literally, life is a roller coaster, and I think that it's the part of you being open, vulnerable, and quite frankly, honestly, sharing, like, the life is sometimes challenging and it's hard and it's difficult. And I think that that's one of the things that, if people really want to follow you and pay attention, I think that's one of the things you guys have exhibited. And it's funny because I also told you before we had gone today, I get to interview a lot of different people, but I will tell you, if I think about it, I think, okay, you guys, before Biggest Loser, you did have some challenges with your weight, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Or you wouldn't got on the show. So like most of us, you had challenges with that. So you lived what I would call in the non-reality world, which is really reality anyway, of whatever kind of exercise plan you were trying to do or diet plan. Then you got on Biggest Loser. You were successful at Biggest Loser. You guys met on Biggest Loser, like you said. Like, look at how your life has gone a particular direction by you guys getting together on that show. You did the whole training part where you were trainers and doing things together at the Biggest Loser Resort. And what's cool about that is then you got to get on the other side of what it's like for others like you, and for them to feel comfortable and relate to you. And as I said to you guys before, you're a safe place because of the fact that you have experienced what others have and probably more. Okay. Then you got on the Big Fat Truth, which I give you a lot of credit because I do like vegetarian things, but I don't know how well I would have done doing the vegetarian thing, but you guys were successful on that. And then the other part that we talked about together in your place was one of my favorite quotes, is what's most secret is most common. And I think one of the things that I really want to make sure that we kind of at least either touch on today, or also then maybe people could send in questions or whatever, and I could get them to you guys and you could answer them, is that I've found for myself or people that I've worked with, that when we go into a place of hiding, or when we feel uncomfortable, we feel like we're supposed to be a certain way. And as you know, when we're on a reality show and people start watching you, and if you gain weight and people are like, what happened? That wouldn't happen. Like all that stuff, you're in the limelight. And then what happens is you have life happen. And then you sometimes just like, I just want to step away. But you had mentioned that was one of the things that for a while you guys kind of did just kind of step away for a while. And I think that's one of the things that I don't know if people get it, but I've found if we don't hide and we try as best we can to find a safe place or safe people that aren't going to shame us, I think there's an opportunity for people to not go like really where they have to go real extreme or whatever. But what was that like for you? Because you guys have gone through so many things. There was a time when you did say that you kind of stepped back from that. And what was that like?
You know, I think for us, just stepping away, it was a time for us to figure it out. And, you know, we were struggling. I mean, I'll just speak on my behalf.
Yeah.
Is I didn't know what to do at a certain point. Like I would preach, you know, you got to fix your head and your heart. You got to do all these things. You got to work out. You got to eat clean. And then I would do that for a while. And then I would take a dive.
Sure.
And, you know, for everybody out there, that's what happens.
That's not
you know, but for us, it's like there's really big peaks and valleys, man. We were on a freaking TV show about weight loss.
Right.
So hello, we fail hard and we succeed hard.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, for us, yeah, we would just hide because we didn't know how to comprehend negative or positive speak. You know what I mean? And we would get just a little bit of each. And for some odd reason, for myself, like I didn't know what to do with that. You know, I just couldn't handle either one. And I think I wasn't happy with what I looked like on the outside. I wasn't happy with what I was on the inside. I was definitely happy with Jess. You know, we're the strongest together. And that's why, you know, throughout, that's like the common denominator of things that we've really succeeded at is being together.
When our minds are right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'll say too, what Ramon's kind of saying here to sum it up, and this is kind of both of us, is words affected us. And like he said, positive or negative, like somebody could say to me, Jess, you're looking good. And my mind takes it as, why don't I look good?
Yeah.
Like, why am I looking good? You know what I mean? I read into these words so that it just shows to me, or it showed me, I'm still not good enough. Like, I'm still not where this stranger expects me to be. And let me prove to them why. Why do I need to prove to a stranger that I'm where they expect me to be? You know, this comparison game, especially from Biggest Loser, comes in. And whether it's with other contestants, but like I've had very close loved ones actually ask me, well, why don't you look like Hannah and Olivia? And I'm like, because I'm not Hannah and Olivia. You know, like I'm Jess, and I go through different life, and I have a different story. And that made it worse. You know, don't like when we compare ourselves to other people, or let's just be honest, when there's, you know, reunions and new shows coming out, like the new Biggest Loser, you're crash dieting to go to this finale. And it's like, for what reason? Why are we constantly trying to impress somebody else? But that's what we were doing. And these words got me. They got me so bad that when I worked at the resorts, which should have been the best time in my life, really, I'm getting paid to work out. I'm getting paid to talk to people who want to come and hang out with us, who want to hear our stories. But I was getting the comparison game of myself in real life to a sticker of myself on the wall. And how come you don't look like your sticker? Well, because I'm not one-dimensional. Like, you know, that messed me up. So I would work out real hard with the clients that came in. I would do everything right. And then I go home and I'd be like, I'm eating a pizza and I'm going to eat it in private. And I'm not going to share this because it's just another door to open to being judged. And so that was really, really hard for us. And that's kind of where it started. And so we did neglect having an outlet, somebody that we could talk to, therapy, mental health, and walk us through what it's like to be in the public eye, you know, and still performing for strangers on a daily level, but always remembering to keep yourself first. And that's where I kind of lacked. And that's where I struggled the most.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't ever think that anybody was too negative toward us, but it's how we took it. And it's how we internalized even the smallest little thing, even if it wasn't there. And, you know, because most of it is all positive, and our time on the show was positive. Everything after the show, I think, was positive. We put so much pressure on ourselves that it was rough. I mean, I didn't go back home for a long time because I felt that I wasn't like that. I didn't do a good job. You know, that's the truth. Yeah. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I didn't have a six pack. I didn't look like Dovette, you know, come on. Hello. But that's what I thought people thought was supposed to happen. You know, and later on, as I talk to people and as I go back, I mean, I started tattooing again, and that was a big deal in 2017, 2018. And I was 390 pounds, 380 some pounds. And I said, you know what? I got to go. It doesn't really matter. And I started seeing all my friends again, and there wasn't one negative thing. They asked about the show, and they thought it was really cool that I was on it. And they didn't go, hey man, you got fat as heck again. They didn't say that at all.
Right.
They were just happy to see me. And that's the kind of thing that I needed at the time. And now, you know, as we've gotten older, we needed that safe place. And instead of hiding, you know, now we're getting back out there again. And we find that it's way easier now than ever to be out in the public, because we're ourselves and we're not trying to put on a show. Yeah, we might be Jess and Ramon, but that's it. You know, we don't have to say, hey, we're Jess and Ramon from this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
Us. And it's fun.
And we have a story that nobody else has.
Exactly.
And so now we're embracing it. And, you know, are we at whatever goal weight, you know, somebody expects me to be at? Probably not. Do I care? I really don't, you know, because now I'm happy. I have, like, you know, we have the business that we love. We're together. We're happy. And, you know, we're creating this family. And I think that's where we really have to put our emphasis. And that's what I tell Ramon all the time. Okay, so you're not at your 6-pack ab goal, but you're also not almost 400 pounds. Right. So we now have to reflect back and say, I'm proud of me because of where I am now, because I'm not going to let a stranger or my thoughts of what strangers think put me back in the basement, which is where I hid for.
Well, yeah. And I mean, it's not just strangers as well. It's the closest family members, our friends, whatever, ourselves. You know, we would put those weird expectations on those goals. Like, oh, I got 3 months to this. Right. We got to get to a certain weight. Why? Right. What are you walking around with a sign that says your weight on it? Absolutely not. So that's dumb. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So now we're just kind of.
I mean, some days I want to when I hit a goal.
Well, yeah.
Because I hit a goal and I'm proud of myself. But
oh heck yeah! This weekend we went to her brother's wedding, and my suit coat was like small, like the smallest I've been in 10 years. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to show people the tag. Like, what's up with that? I didn't cut it out before so no one sees it, you know? Yeah. But it's just these little things that we're finally embracing, and we're not, you know, taken for granted. That's the biggest thing.
And like Jay said, we've now created, and we have had safe places throughout this, you know, almost 11 years. You know, I coached for many, many years, and I still am starting to get back into it. And I created that safe place for other people while dipping my toes into it. But now we have these safe places where, you know, we've got our friends that are on journeys similar to ours that we feel comfortable sharing. I now, like, when we take away that stigma and the thought process of what is somebody going to think, and you get that out of your mind, you now created a safe environment for yourself, no matter where you are, and celebrate it. And so that's the difference of, I think, where we are now and where we were even just a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Yep.
I think, you know, one of the things that I think is really important that you guys have illustrated is that, you know, when we hear the term body positivity, I think it unfortunately at times just talks about, in theory, people that are a larger size. Okay. I think that it goes both ways. The idea of body positivity should be, people shouldn't be scorned for their size if they're bigger, and they shouldn't be scorned for their size if they're smaller, because I don't know, it's a personal preference. I know for myself, I feel better when I'm smaller than bigger, not because I don't like myself. It's just like I can move easier. Things don't hurt. So I think that it's what I'm pleased about what you guys are doing is I feel like nothing's off limits to share and to talk about. And I think the more people open up and don't choose sides and don't make something wrong, I think there's more opportunity for people to kind of find where their particular place is. I think we all have at times can fool ourselves, not just with our weight and size, but in our career, in our relationships. I think it's not easy being honest. It's not easy being vulnerable, but you guys know it takes literally a burden off of you. And I think that's what that I see in the joy of what you've got. You're excited because you have gone back and forth with your weight and your size, but you're excited because you feel like you have some freedom around being open in that conversation. You know, I think it makes a big difference.
Oh yeah, I think that you hit it right there. Is fitness is not a size thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, just like, there's a workout for everybody that could work for you, and there's stuff that doesn't work for you. There's an eating plan that's for you. There's some that don't work, right? We've tried everything, and we finally found what works for us, but there isn't anything specific to anybody. Like everybody can try something different, and throw all kinds of things at the wall and see what sticks. Right. But, with body positivity in specific, is that you have to love yourself no matter what. But yeah, the fact of the matter is get healthy. So whether it is like lose like 25 pounds or 150 pounds, whatever you got to do, or gain muscles, or, start working out, just start walking, all these different things will help you in the long run. I mean, no one should have to be, the world is full of different people. Yeah. And that's how it's supposed to be. We're not all one size and shape and color and all these different things. So it's like, be different, be unique, and be happy with yourself. But yeah, don't choose a side. And that's so weird to me. Like, I see these things, you're big, and then you want to be big, and then you got to flaunt it, or you just lost a bunch of weight and now you hate everybody else who's big. That's ridiculous. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, man. Help everybody, or don't help anybody, and just help yourself. I mean, it's just weird.
See, I think body positivity goes beyond weight. My mind is body positivity is a mindset. Be happy and love yourself. To me, that's what I struggled with the most. And I think that's where everything else snowballed after. Because body positivity to me is, if you don't love yourself, obviously you're going to do things that are going to torment your body, right? You're going to overeat. You're going to do drugs. You're going to crash diet. You're going to never eat a vegetable. Whereas, like, if you do, like Ramon said, take it small. You don't have to be like, it's not even about being big or small, because who's to say what is big and what is small? It changes every day when you get on the news. But it's more of, do you love yourself today? Will you represent yourself when you walk outside in your best capable ability? And I think to me, that's the key. It's not about, can you work out? Can you go to the gym? Can you lose 20 pounds? It's, can you do something good for your body? Can you eat a vegetable today? Yeah. If you never eat vegetables, can you read a book on, doing better and whatever you're struggling with? That's positivity. That's what builds that. And I think taking away and I think I still am plus size, but the plus size movement, I think is fantastic. Love yourself, but also don't forget there is a big health thing there too. You know what I mean? And I think that's where it comes from, is don't love yourself so much you don't go to the doctor, and that we just eat, garbage all day. At the same time, you should never starve yourself to fit what the public is telling you is healthy.
Which is perfect for what you're saying too, being a nurse, Jess, because of the fact that, I get where people say, my weight shouldn't define me. It's like, I get that. And if somebody has cancer, you could say, well, cancer doesn't define me, or diabetes doesn't define me. I get that. But if you don't do something about it, it will take you out. I mean, that's not being mean to somebody. That's just a reality. Or if somebody's having a heart attack, my heart attack doesn't define me. Like, okay, whatever. So I think that's where it's important that people, start to have more of an honest conversation around that. So one of the things that you definitely, we talked about a little bit. So just as a point of reference. So this month, in the month of April, what I've been trying to do with Going Beyond the Scale is I've been focusing on different kinds of and I'm not an expert on, so I'm just trying to understand gastric surgeries. So I had Dr. Kearns on, who was on Biggest Loser. She's a doctor. She works in obesity medicine. She works with veterans that get gastric bypass surgery. So she has a particular point of view and experience that she's had. I interviewed Dusty, who was well over 500 pounds, and he's kept it off for like 6 years. And he's like, he loves working out. He built a garage in his home. He's a really cool guy. He does a lot of fun stuff on Instagram that I enjoy, his pieces that he does. And then both you guys, and it was interesting because you guys decided that with everything that was going on back and forth, you felt better when you were at a different size, and you got to a place where you looked into this. And so give us a little bit of an idea, like kind of how you came about for that, and how that part of your life, when this journey right now is going on, how's that working for you, so people can understand that option for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we struggled for a long time, and we needed to find the thing that was going to finally work for us. And I mean, I put it off for years. Jess set me up like 4 years ago. I started, creeping back up that scale, and she said, well, you're gonna, why don't you try this? And I was going to go and look into surgery and, do the thing where you have to talk to the doctor, and I couldn't do it.
And let me just note that that was 100% covered by insurance.
I know.
Oh, no.
I just want to note that. And also the fact that I wasn't looking at myself at the time because I should have also signed up for it, but I was so worried about this guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were literally killing ourselves. Like, you know, all the things that we were doing crept back, you know, all the things, the health scares, you know, diabetes for me, the high blood pressure, all these things, the sleep apnea was out of whack. Everything comes back hard when you start gaining weight. And like I said, for us, we do it big. Like I was gaining 100 pounds, like in 3, 4, and 5 months. And, you know, that's not good for your body. And finally, you know, we decided, you know, this is our last resort, man. We've tried everything else. We've tried, you know, every crash diet. We've tried everything, and we've been successful at all of them.
Yeah.
We've done good at everything we've tried. That's not a problem. Yeah, to a point. But it wasn't a lifestyle. And I know that's where everyone says, well, you got to find that lifestyle.
Which we used to preach.
Yeah, we preach it all the time. Like, hello, you got to do this and eat veggies and measure this and weigh this. Guess what? You don't. You just got to figure out what's going to work for you.
Right.
And continue to live your life the way you want to live it. You know, and for us, surgery was the answer. So,
so like
medical talk.
Yeah. Well, but so that was kind of his aha moment. He was coming down with, you know, he's got high blood pressure, sleep apnea, to the point where I wasn't sleeping because I'm worried about counting his breathing. So it started doubling into both, but we were eating like crazy. I mean, I can't tell you, I mean, we talk about it now. Sometimes we would hit up, you know, all the fast food joints, but I'm not saying like over a period of time. I'm saying in one night, because our minds were fixated on more. You know,
we're already
what if
there.
that, you know, taco doesn't fill me, or what if that 12 tacos don't fill me up? I'm going to need a cheeseburger. I might need 2. That's how bad our minds were, because nothing filled us literally, emotionally, mentally, or physically. And I got to the point around, I think, November of 2019. And I never had any comorbidities. I was the lucky big girl. I didn't have sleep apnea, even though I wanted it because I wanted the cool machine to breathe. I wanted all that.
No
stuff.
one who has sleep apnea wants the machine.
No, that's true. Nobody.
I also wanted braces and glasses as a kid. You know, all those things that you don't get to get.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the blood pressure, all those things. I didn't have diabetes, which I didn't mention, but you did. And but what happened to me in 2019, I woke up screaming but gasping for air in the middle of my sleep, and it was horrific.
Scary.
Wow.
It was such an outer body experience that I'm the one screaming and feeling my throat that I actually thought it was somebody else screaming. Like it was just, I get chills now to the day because it scares the living daylights out of me. I never want to experience it again. Didn't sleep for about a week after that. And the only thing I took from it was I'm dying. My body is dying from the inside out. I'm literally choking myself while I'm sleeping. And even though I'm failing at, you know, a sleep apnea test, my body is failing and it's going to kill me. And all I could think of is that my neck had just gotten so big that I stopped breathing. And that's just how it manifested. And at that moment, I was done. And I looked to a friend who, she actually didn't make it on Biggest Loser, but we became friends on social media. And she recently started posting about having gastric surgery, and she had VSG, so vertical sleeve gastrectomy. And I reached out to her to kind of find out the ins and the outs, the costs and this and that. And she actually referred me to a company she didn't go with called Blossom Bariatrics. And I checked it out and fell in love with the company, just looking up their information. And honestly, that was it. We had enough money in savings that we were going to pay out of pocket for it, because at this point in our life, insurance wasn't going to cover it. You know, for hindsight 2020 there. But that was it. And I told Ramon, I believe I told you, I'm doing it whether you do it or not.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It was like, we're going to do this and we're going to do it now. And I was like, okay, when are we doing it? Like a few months from now? And you're like, nah, like,
no, like tomorrow.
A few weeks.
Wow.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I called my best friend who had also done the surgery years back, 4 or 5 years ago, and he's still successful, and talked to him about it.
Yeah.
And that, like, trying to get myself ready for what's going to happen. And then obviously we talked to the doctors and their nutritionist and, their therapist and all those kind of things, and started to get our mind right for this thing. And then, I don't know how many weeks we waited until.
Yeah, we really only waited maybe like a month and a half, and then we had surgery. We got lucky.
Yeah.
It was just a good time within their surgery cap. But, the biggest problem here, once again, was the mental part.
Yeah.
You know, we looked at surgery for 10 years or 8 years, 9 years at that time as the easy way out and as the cop out and the negative, like, oh, well, just work, you know, we used to think,
just work out.
just work out,
yeah.
eat good. Like, obviously you can do it. And so I wish I didn't think that way for so long.
Yeah.
And there is a stigma to it. People in the hospital, you know, the nurses and doctors, they have their own opinions. And that's kind of where I came from. I'm watching TV and I know certain celebrities that have had it. They don't talk about it. And it's like shameful. And I think that's what influenced me for so long. And I wish I would have just had a mind of my own.
Yeah.
And would have just done what I needed to do for my health, because I could have started living years ago.
Yeah.
But I waited and I let some more life pass by, which now we're making up for. But, you know, it's been a blessing. And I just hope, like, us sharing this is only going to help at least one more person just say, okay, I'm not going to give up, because I wanted to give up. Like, I really wanted, like, I mean, anybody that's watching this that struggles with weight will most likely understand what it's like when you're driving on an empty road and you're like, I'm ready to give up because nothing is working for me. I don't want to live like this. And I wouldn't say I was suicidal per se, but like those thoughts go through your mind.
Sure.
And that's not a good place to live. And it's because you're overweight. Like, I think that's ridiculous. The fact that we don't realize that it's okay if Jenny Craig doesn't work for you. It's okay if Atkins doesn't work for you. It's okay if, you know, Biggest Loser didn't work for you, but there's like 100 more things to try.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to try it again, like he said, there is something out there for you. And for us, it was going through surgery.
Yeah.
So we had that in January of 2021.
Yep.
And brings us to today. And even though I'm pregnant, I've done actually really well with my weight gain.
She's kicking butt. I mean, we got surgery to be healthy parents.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew that there was no possible way, for one, she could probably get pregnant. And two, we could raise a baby being, you know, close to 400 pounds.
We could barely chase after my nephews.
Exactly.
Visit,
like,
you know?
we would hold him and dead. You're dead the next day. You're dead in the evening. And
dead
then you
in
have
5 minutes.
Yeah. And you have to put it back on. Like, how long does this kid want to play? And then we're like, okay, we got to do something about that, because that was our goal. And why we, you know, put a shop in Colorado, put a shop in Pittsburgh. We wanted to be, you know, start our own family and have a family and, you know, go to that next chapter in life. And we needed to tackle our health to make those, you know, put those pieces in motion. I
mean, let's be honest. I'm already in a geriatric pregnancy category for my age. So I also didn't want to be told, like, hey, and I hate the word fat, but you're too fat to get pregnant, or you're, you know, whatever you want to call it. But that was the reality. And that's why we never really tried to get pregnant before, because again, it's the fear, you know, of, I don't want to hear another stranger tell me I'm not good enough to have the life I want. And
or you would say too, like, I need to be a certain size before we get pregnant.
Right.
Be smaller. And at our last doctor's appointment, you said, wow, it's kind of cool when the doctor doesn't say, like, hey, you should be at a certain weight.
I even asked him, I'm like, are you okay with my weight? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
he looked at her like, what are you talking about?
So are you saying I can have a cupcake?
Yeah. The baby needs a cupcake.
But that's who we are. That's
I think one of the things that your story is about too is that when people are trying to lose weight, they feel like they're being pushed into something, and it feels like something being put upon them. Where when you actually are creating a more compelling life, compelling future, you're being pulled. Things are pulling you forward, and I think that one of the things that obviously whatever somebody's going to do, if they just are focused on quote unquote what they're eating, how they're exercising, that's a private hell. You guys know there's nothing fun. I don't care what anybody says. There's nothing fun about losing weight. Why? Because the word loss is not a word we really like. Restriction isn't a word that we like. And I think that if I was hoping that more people get this, it's like you do need to find a way to create a lifestyle that, like what you said, if you want to be a different size because you feel better or you have something, you should look for that, because hey, we all know what it's like and I was the same way you guys were with the secret eater. When you're a secret eater, you know, I didn't get to my top weight of like 435 because I had a bad metabolism. I had some bad thoughts and I ate everything in sight. And like what you said, once you get in that mode, you just go from one thing to the next, and next, and next, and next. And so I think that what your story is about is really, you have tried many things, you've seen many things, you've been open and honest, you're sharing it, you're supporting people. You guys have always been that way. So I think that makes a big difference. And that's the same thing in people that I've navigated, where all of a sudden they get to a certain place. I'm like, look, I got to tell you what, if you only focus on you it's not going to work because you're going to go backwards. You got to find some place to go out and share some of that. So I think that's one of the great things that you guys have done. So with what you've done so far, coming full circle, this whole adventure that you've been on, you're going to be parents. That's going to be a whole new chapter for you guys. A lot of fun. And you have your businesses you're doing. In kind of wrapping this up, and you shared a lot. So I think a lot of people will have gotten, some new ideas and things. And we'll put in here, we'll put some links so they can go, and if they want to learn more about where you guys got what you got done, or any of that, any of the things that you think would be helpful to anybody, we'll make sure that all that is in the podcast. It'll be in the YouTube posting. We also do a transcript of this, so it's in a blog posting. Sometimes people want to listen, you want to go back. So we're basically going to give people all the places they can learn and reach out to you guys as well. But in wrapping it up, is there anything that you have up your sleeve going forward? I mean, having a kid is going to be a big thing, obviously. And you got the gender reveal coming up. What was it, Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you got that coming up. But besides that, is there anything else that you got up your sleeve from some other kind of venture other than being parents and having your new businesses that you're really moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm going to take 80% of my tattoos off.
Wow.
Starting over. So for me, there's a lot of big things coming up. I memean, I'm going to be this new dad. I'm not getting rid of tattoos. I'm starting over. So I'm getting all cool new ones, but that's going to work well with our business. We're going to have me as the model of, hey, we can take this off and I can re-put some stuff that I really want now on, because as you grow, you change, right? Just like with diet and exercise and growth. I mean, I'm changing my whole lifestyle, my whole everything, and I'm growing and I want to look different, so I'm going to change the way I diet. I'm going to change the way I eat. I'm going to change the way I work out. I'm going to change the way I physically look, with tattooing, and hopefully it's going to be positive, because I want to be that cool dad.
Yeah. And then as far as for me, I love where I'm at right now. I'm going to start working here at Black Oak doing microblading, and then of course the laser, but I am getting back into coaching because I miss it. And it did hold me accountable for a while until I let myself hide, and I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yep.
And that's why when people do ask me like, oh, you look familiar, I used to just say I have I have one of those faces. Now I'm like, okay, I know, I will tell you where you know me from.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of it because I'm not who I was a year and a half ago. I'm not who I was even 5 years ago. And I'm proud of where I'm at. And so for me, I'm going to honor and respect each and every day, get back into coaching, hopefully help other people, celebrate whatever journey they decide to go in, whatever door they open. And if it is VSG, then they can lean on somebody that has been there and had a very positive experience. And I'm not done, just like anything else, we can fail at this, but I'm not going to, because I've tried everything else. And every time I failed, I've learned something. And so I've got enough of those little nuggets of information to make sure that we've got the building blocks for both us and our child, so that we're not necessarily raising the littlest, biggest loser, but a healthy little and leading with that heart, my body positivity.
Yeah. And I mean, for us, it's like, we're not, hey, you should go get surgery.
Yeah.
But if you need it, go for it.
Don't be ashamed of it.
You know what I mean? Don't be ashamed of it. Don't put it off any longer. And we're also just pro health.
Yeah.
So we answer all questions. We'll help you if you need it. We'll be that, shoulder to cry on, or that ear to listen. I mean, that's how we are. Like I said, we've done it all and we've been successful. We've also failed at a lot of things, but oh well, that's how you learn and grow. And that's how you become the person you're supposed to be. And we're finally getting there, and it's taken a long time, but the last resort, we did it. And now we're here,
Yeah. And just like, and I'll end with this, like, I'd open up my Instagram, but I posted something the other day where I think it's so important to have this mindset is, like, for me now, it's not about the size of where I'm at for this journey. It's the experiences that I get to have. It's being able to get on the swing, to be able to fit in the car or the airplane and not ask for the belt extender. Those little things were big nuggets for me, and it's more so about, honoring where you came from and respecting where you're at, and just knowing that you're never done. And as long as you don't give up, there's always somewhere else to go.
Yeah. No more fake happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
And one thing that I want to kind of leave you guys with as well, I had said to you, like, an open invitation, not that I'm some friggin' expert in podcasting or any of this stuff. All I will say is that I have found that the more we get an opportunity to talk to people, interview people, have conversations with people, I think it helps us, it helps others. And so you two are great together. And I think there's an opportunity for you guys. It's not hard to do, but I think you should consider, back to not failing. I will tell you, you won't fail if you stay in out there. As you know, you'll be challenged. I mean, that just happens. It's life. But I think it'd be really cool. You got a lot to do. You're going to be doing the whole new parent thing. You got your business to do, but maybe at some point in time, you really consider, even if it's once a month, doing the same type of thing we're doing today. Like, turn on the camera and interview with people and share with people. I think people enjoy you, and I think they would like to have more of you. So I'm going to just kind of tag you guys and say, consider it, and if you ever need any support or help, let me know. I'd be more than to be able to help you any way that we could. So
cool. Challenge accepted. I'll do it tomorrow.
So with that, like I said, we're going to put links and information so people can get a hold of you guys. And for anybody that's been listening today or watching today or reading this blog, reach out to them, because Jess and Ramon are for real safe, great, supportive people. And I think you could tell that in the conversation today. So thanks, guys, for being here.
Thank you, Jay.